Hi, and thanks for tuning in to our live radio show. Moments of Clarity with Tiffany will begin in just a few moments. Please stay tuned. Kindly take this opportunity to share this show on your platforms because change can only come when we stand together as one, especially when it comes to ending the stigma on mental health.
You are not alone, and help is out there.
Kids have mental health issues, and we also need to learn coping skills.
Let's get started and let the show begin. See you soon.
Don't put yourself down, time for a change. Believe in yourself, time to rearrange. Be your best friend, bring hope to your day. Lose your critic, get out of your way. Now it clicks, moments of clarity. Now I hear moments of clarity. Now I get it, moments of clarity. To yourself be kind, it will please your mind. Find your joy, trust in you. Put in the time, you'll see how you grow. Many kinds of love you get to define. Find self-love, your soul will align. Now it clicks, moments of clarity. Now I hear moments of clarity. Now I get it, moments of clarity.
Thanks for listening to Moments of Clarity. My name is Tiffany Warner, licensed mental health counselor and your host. And waiting for the cue from Ed. We're kind of getting a late start today, but we're going to get on the radio right away. And I can't wait to introduce my guest, great author and very patient person. Anyway, Ed, if you could unmute so I can hear my cue, then that'd be awesome. And looking forward to a wonderful show. Everyone, hi. Thank you so much, Joe, on LinkedIn. Thanks for joining us today. Invite your friends to watch the show. Call in with comments or questions. 866-826-30.
Hi. Check us out 5 p.m. Tuesday, every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Check us out. Eat, shop, and play. Be good now.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network. Welcome to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Warner, licensed mental health counselor in the state of Florida. Moments of Clarity's mission is to educate and end the stigma on mental health through the inspirational stories of our exceptional guests. You can join in the show by calling Tiffany toll-free at 866-826-1340 or on Facebook and Twitter at MOC with Tiffany. Now, here's Tiffany Warner.
Hi, everyone, and thanks for listening. This is Moments of Clarity with Tiffany. I'm Tiffany Warner, a licensed mental health counselor, and I'm your host. And today we're going to be discussing recovery, addiction, and things that can make a comeback with someone that's very positive keynote speaker that says you'll never change. Just kidding, kind of deal. Like, it's a big extra. Before I introduce my guest formally, I would like to say hi to Ed. What's up, Ed? How are you?
Happy Friday on a rainy Friday here.
Yes, it is. But, you know, it saves on the water bill, waters our grass, washes our car, you know.
You know, I don't know if I'm getting taller each week or the camera somebody keeps moving the camera down.
I was going to ask about that. I keep forgetting. Didn't you kind of get a new chair for our
I
radio
did.
listeners?
Yeah.
It's kind of on the virtual, but like every week his head starts getting cut off.
Yeah. Well, I had that little chair, and then I was only up to here on the board. I felt like
I can't win.
yeah, I felt like the kid at the. I felt like the guy at the kids' table at Thanksgiving. Yeah, so
I hate those chairs.
anyway,
And now you got one
this
that's
works.
too high. We're going to have to just fix the camera a little bit.
I gotta get it just right. Yeah,
Now you have to duck down to get into the view of the camera.
yeah.
Well, it's like the three bears, like Goldilocks. One's too short, one's too tall.
Well, I'd rather it be not too tall than the wide shot not working out for me. So
Does it
whatever.
adjust on the bottom? Can you raise and lower it? It's not that kind
Well,
of chair.
if I wasn't so lazy, I could lean forward and push it back a little bit, and that would take care of it. But it's Friday, and it's going to change tomorrow anyway. So
But you've got to watch your back too. So
yeah, I know. That's why I
we
did
need
it
to figure
slow.
out a new one.
Yeah.
But it's pretty funny. I was gonna ask about that because especially if I do this kind of view like over here.
Mhm.
Yesterday you were kind of like cut off.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
what's going on? I feel bad. I'll put you over here. Look, now you don't have to crouch.
Yeah, it's too big. I don't like it.
Anyway,
Too big.
it's so nice to see you, Ed. And
You too.
when you call in, you can call in live questions 866-826-1340. 866-826-1340. Please say hi to Ed when you do. And maybe we'll get you started a GoFundMe account to get Ed a right chair. Like a comfortable chair. 866-826-1340. And so like my guest today is a published author, but he's gone through such a journey. And he says that in his early 20s that he was a business owner chasing success while dealing with a secret drug addiction. And after constantly hitting rock bottom, hurting everyone close, stealing a car, going to jail, he went on a journey of changing his mindset and his decisions, which has helped him create his own comeback story. And he quickly found out that there were other people just like him who were stuck believing that they would never change. That's why I said in the beginning that things never change. Just kidding, kind of. He wrote a beautiful book on stage speaking. Now he's a keynote speaker, and he shares what he's learned to help other people make their own comeback. And he's also published a wonderful book called "You'll Never Change," but it's a big extra because he's just kidding. Welcome to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany, Nate Dukes.
Hey, thank you so much. This is really cool to be here because I've actually been following this show for a while now, and it's actually been really helpful for me. So now to be on the other side of it, it's very humbling. And I'm here to tell you, if you do set up that GoFundMe account, I am donating for a new chair. Like I'm all about that.
Thank you. Yay. So whenever you say Moments of Clarity, which I didn't think to tell you before, that you get a bell, or when you say something that I kind of really agree with, and I don't want to interrupt, but the bell interrupts too. So anyway, that's what an honor for you to say that you've been following the show for a while and that you love being here. I love when guests like to be here because we're on the show. And we've been nominated for the top 10 in 3 categories of the People's Choice Podcast Awards, and what an honor that is. And we find out if we place the first, if we win on September 30th.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I actually voted for this podcast, so I hope that it does. Yeah,
I'll be harassing you next year too. So anyway, I want to get some love out there. Joe Potosi, thank you so much. Somebody from Facebook. Oh, it's from Adam. I have Adam. So for the radio listeners, just saying some hi from some live comments. Dave Myers, looking forward to this. Me too. Say hi to Summit Innovation. And Sean Klinkhammer, thanks for coming on, Nate.
absolutely. I'm excited to be here. This is going to be a great conversation.
So anyway, let's just get back to that a little bit later. But I'm going to welcome callers also call in 866-826-1340. 866-826-1340. 1340. Anyway, so Nate, let's start with you in the beginning. I kind of did the summation, especially with what you gave me in your early 20s and things like that. But let's start from the beginning, how it all started for you.
Yeah, for sure. So before we even get into that, I just want to say this is going to be a really helpful conversation for anybody that feels stuck, that anybody feels like, man, there's something more inside of me, but I don't necessarily know how to pull it out of me, or maybe you think that your life is too messy to ever change. And so to understand where I am now, you have to really understand where I came from, which started out as a young kid. We were the poor family. We didn't have a whole lot. My parents, they had some broken mindsets, and sometimes those broken mindsets, they get passed down from generation to generation. And I just want to be very clear. I don't blame my parents for anything, because they were kids trying to raise kids.
Right.
And when you get into those situations, you're just doing the best you can with what you have. But I knew that I didn't want to continue to live the life that we had, because my mom came up to us one time during Christmas and she said, "Hey, I just want to let you know there's not going to be a whole lot of presents underneath the tree this year." And as a kid, that's never anything that you want to hear. But there's this really great church that came along, and they bought my mom a bunch of gifts, and we had this amazing experience. But we also knew that it didn't come from my parents. We knew that we were used to hand-me-downs, handouts, and other people always helping us. And, when I turned 18, I really wanted to escape the chaos of my childhood. So I did what every 18-year-old that doesn't really have a plan for their life does. I went to a public university. I went to college. I took out a massive amount of student loan debt, and I just was trying to figure it out. And when I went away to college, I thought that I was going to really get away from the life that I had. But instead of trying to build this new life, I found myself being drawn to the party scene. And that's where I was first introduced to drugs and alcohol. And I'll tell you, man, I had a really good time. I really enjoyed myself in college. But you know what I found is that what feels good in the moment isn't always good for your future.
Right.
And so now here I am trying to having my studies and taking tests and going to class. That's starting to compete with this party lifestyle that I've really fallen in love with. And now all of a sudden I'm taking prescription ADD medication just to try and stay focused and keep up. And what started out as a weekend fun experience turned into a full-blown drug addiction at age 19, 20, and 21.
Lifestyle. I have a lot of friends from college that kind of played that game and never got out of it in their adulthood. And so they end up in prison or rehab and probably watching the show right now, if they're still alive,
Well, the reality is that if you don't figure out a way to get out of it, a great life doesn't happen on accident. A great life happens intentionally. And so if you just get stuck in this pattern, you find yourself repeating year after year after year. And you look back at 10 years of your life and you go, my life looks exactly the same as it did in my 20s.
Right.
And so now after 4 years of going to college, I managed to come nowhere close to actually getting a degree. So after 4 years, I ran out of money. And I don't know if you've ever heard of the walk of shame before, but moving back in with my parents, for me, that was the real walk of shame.
The walk of shame is used for several things, but you can say they say it like leaving the bathroom at certain times, or leaving a dorm room. There's a lot of reasons people say the walk of shame.
Yeah, mine was having to move back in with mom and dad. Okay, that was my walk of shame. And so after a series of events, I moved back home with my parents. I was just trying to figure out who I was. After a series of events, I actually was approached by a buddy of mine who I used to bartend for. And he wanted to open up a bar and restaurant in downtown Youngstown, Ohio. And this really touched on the entrepreneur that was on the inside of me, that guy that wanted to create a new life. It also touched on this party guy that has been developed, this drug addict, this person who really loved going to bars and partying and being around that scene. And so we took what was a failing business in the beginning and we turned it into something that was pretty successful over the course of 2 years. So now I have access to more money than I've ever seen in my entire life. I want to be very clear, though. This was not like a life-changing amount of money, but being that poor kid growing up, it really felt like the world to me, because all of a sudden I had a nicer car. I had a beautiful apartment in downtown with the high-rise ceilings. I was in social settings that I would have never had access to before. And I thought that once I had all of this stuff, that I would finally be happy. And I thought that once I could get all those things, because growing up, seeing other people having stuff and going on vacation, being able to do things, I thought that that's what happiness equaled. And now all of a sudden I can do all of that and I'm still empty and I'm still broken. And I have this hole inside of me that I'm just trying to fill with anything that I can stuff in there. And so,
I mean, having the stuff, I mean, the more money we make or whatever, the more stuff we get, but it doesn't build happiness. But it's nice to be out of debt and not have credit card or collection agencies calling us and harassing us sometimes, or being able to provide things that we do need. If we need like a new lawnmower or, stuff like that breaks down and being able to replace, but money doesn't buy happiness though.
correct.
It does buy security though.
I thought it did. I really did. And that was the lie that I believed growing up, that if I could just get enough money, my life would be happy. Because I think at the end of the day, that's really what everybody wants. We want to experience fulfillment. We want to be content. We want to know what love feels like. We want to be the proverbial happy. And I'm here to just tell you that, money is a really great resource and it's a really great tool, and it can give you access to things that maybe you've never experienced before. But if you want to talk about long-term happiness, it's not the cure. It doesn't equal happiness. And
bittersweet symphony says the verb, and they say you're a slave to money, then you die.
That's right. Well, and so how many of us know that there's like, we all probably know like a really super rich person that's miserable, right? Like we've met that person or we've heard of that person before. There's also some people who are very wealthy, who are very happy too, because their money is just an amplifier of who you are. If you're a terrible person, you're going to have more to be terrible with. But if you're generous, if you're a loving, if you're a caring human being, money will give you the ability to be more loving, to be more caring, and to be more generous. So I didn't know that when I was in my early 20s. And so now the drug addiction is really starting to ramp up and it's really starting to get out of control. And I'm taking 3, 4, 5 times the amount that's prescribed to any human being. And I'm just trying to figure out what's the right cocktail to make me feel the right way, because I hate how I feel. I was this chubby, insecure kid growing up that didn't feel like he was significant. And I just didn't like that feeling on the inside. So if I can take the right drugs to make me feel the right way, then I'll just be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so now the drug addiction.
Because you weren't okay just being you.
I didn't like me.
Yeah, exactly. That was, but like Joe Potosi says, and off LinkedIn, he's like, I already love this guy. Me too. I guess you started liking yourself then, because now other people can like you for who you are.
That's right.
I'm going to get into that in a second. It's time for our first break. But what you're saying is so powerful. And I love your transparency and your motivation and inspiration for so many people, because a lot of people that have been in your situation haven't come out like this. And it's a shame. It's a shame. And I'm not friends with a lot of people anymore because of that, that I used to know. There were people I used to know. But it's because they never got out of that, or they just got worse. You can't have a family with kids and be around people like that, just can't. It's hard, at least, because you don't want your kids around that. But let's take our first break and come back, and I can't wait to hear what more of Nate Duke says in just a moment. We'll be right back with Moments of Clarity. Stay tuned.
You're listening to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Werner. We welcome your input at 866-826-1340. Tiffany will be right back after this.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Friday, September 17th at 6:30 p.m., you're invited to join a casually elegant event to support veterans and survivors of human trafficking, PTSD, and other trauma disorders. Help raise funds for a very special cause while also enjoying a delectable 3-course meal at Currents Restaurant in beautiful Tarpon Springs. There will be entertainment and plenty of opportunities to bring home memorable prizes through auctions, customized gift baskets, fine art, vacation deals, and raffles. Your ticket will help survivors afford the support they need to continue their recovery. For those who can't attend a restaurant in person, there will be virtual options available to participate in as well. For more information and to purchase your tickets, visit diddiscoveringhope.org. That's diddiscoveringhope.org.
Hello, my name is Lucy Lopes, and I'm a real estate agent that supports ending the stigma on mental health with Moments of Clarity with Tiffany. I am also passionate about helping you buy or sell your home. With times being so difficult, I'm here to help. Contact me at lucylopes.com. That's LUCYLOPES.com. Let me assist you through this pandemic and know that you are not alone.
If you're a show host, gamer, live streamer, podcast host, or radio show host that would like your message to get out and reach up to 30 platforms, then there's an affordable way to do that. It's called Restream. Restream makes it easy to broadcast professional live videos from your browser to multiple social platforms at once. Start your live show with guests, brand it with logos and overlays, and create an interactive experience for your audience. Learn more at Restream.io and mention Moments of Clarity for special offers.
Hi, this is Tiffany Warner, your host of Moments of Clarity. Living with a mental health disorder is not easy. If you or someone you know are struggling with this, please know it's so important to seek treatment, and I'm here to help. Please visit the website at momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com to view blog posts and resources on this site to help educate and inspire you to take action, because there's no shame in seeking help for mental health. While you're there, please take a few seconds to sign up for my email list. You'll get some extremely valuable educational and entertaining content that can be sent right to your inbox each week. Plus, you'll also get instant and free access to my guide on managing your anxiety. You can also follow me on Twitter at MOC with Tiffany and at Facebook at Tiffany Warner. And once again, the website is momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com. Thank you so much for your support and for listening to your show, because change can only come when we stand together as one.
Are you looking for a great book? If you like to root for the underdog, Joe Potosi's book is a book for you. A real American Odyssey that will grab your attention with its fast-moving narrative. You won't be able to put this masterpiece down. When the Dust Settled by Joe Potosi. Go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or Zulin Press.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
We are back to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Warner. To join in the discussion, call 866-826-1340. Now, here's Tiffany Warner.
Hello, and thanks for tuning in. If you're just now tuning in, this is Moments of Clarity with Tiffany. My name is Tiffany Warner. I'm a licensed mental health counselor, and I'm your host. My guest today published a wonderful book, and it's called You'll Never Change. I made the big X through it saying, yes, you will. Create your comeback and prove them wrong. And he's been so powerful telling his story already, from being poor poverty to drug use and more. And welcome back to Moments of Clarity, Nate Dukes.
Hey, thank you so much. So just to pick up where we left off. So I had this business. It got really successful and I thought it was going to make me happy. It hasn't. So now the drug addiction's starting to ramp out of control. And I'm also finding myself being drawn to gambling, and I'm going to casinos all of the time now. And you know what? It wasn't even about like winning the money. It was like, it was just like that high of being there, being inside of the casino, and like the adrenaline rush of winning and losing. And I kept going back, and now I'm addicted to not just drugs, but I'm feeling addicted to gambling as well. And, you know, over the course of about a year, I ended up gambling everything that I personally owned away. I'd lost my car, my business bank accounts. They were, or my personal bank accounts, they were empty, but my business bank accounts, they were still full. And so now I have this business partner, and I start to move money around in my business bank accounts, and I'm taking money off of the top, and I'm not putting all of the money in from the deposits, and I'm using it to feed this drug and gambling addiction that's really waging war on the inside of me. And I guess at the time I thought to myself, well, geez, isn't it my money anyway, since I'm the owner of this? Well, here's the thing. You can't take business money and use it for personal investments. That's actually called embezzlement. And so now here I am embezzling money out of my own business. And, you know, it came crashing down when we had several employees who worked we had almost 20 people who worked for us. It was payday, and my business partner came up to me and he said, "Nate, it's time to cut the checks for everybody." And I just remember coming clean in that moment and saying to myself, I really saying to him, "Hey, if we write these checks, there's not going to be enough money in the accounts to cover them." And you could see the look on his face. He was confused. He was frustrated. He was upset. And then everything started to catch up to him. He realized that I had taken the payroll money the night before and I had gambled it all away. And he looks at me in this moment and he gives me an ultimatum. He says, "Nate, you can sign this thing over to me and walk away from it free and clear, or I'm going to get lawyers involved and I'm going to press charges." So at 26 years old, I walked away from what was my life's work at that point. And my identity was built up in being a business owner. And when I didn't have that anymore, I didn't know who I was. And so I really started to fall apart. And now here I am taking my second walk of shame, moving back in with my parents. And I could hardly hold down a job. I would get a job as a server at a local restaurant somewhere, but still dealing with this drug and gambling addiction. I would resort back to what I knew, which was taking from the cash register. I would get caught and then I'd get fired. And this happened 3 different times. Finally, the last time that it happened, I was walking around my parents' apartment complex. It was 3:00 in the morning. I had just taken a handful of pills. And I was walking around to different vehicles trying to see if any of them were unlocked. I was looking for anything that I could sell, anything that I could get my hands on, anything that I could use to feed this addiction. And as I opened up the car door to a 1999 Buick LeSabre, I lifted up the center console, and as I reached my hand in, I pulled out the spare keys to that car. Apparently, that's where you keep the spare keys to a 99 Buick LeSabre. But I thought to myself, maybe this is a chance to escape. Maybe this is a chance to get away, because the life that I have now, it's not the life that I want. And, I didn't wake up that day thinking, today's the day that I'm going to steal a car. But when you find yourself in the wrong place with the wrong headspace, you never know what is possible. And so I loaded up 5 garbage bags of clothes in the back of this stolen car, and I took off for Houston, Texas. I had a friend down there that said, "Nate, if you ever find a way to get down here, I'll help you get back on your feet." And so I made it halfway, right outside of Nashville, Tennessee. There's a small town in Cheatham County called Ashland City. And I pulled into a gas station because I'd been up for like 3 days at this point, and I just wanted to get some sleep. And I was woken up at 9 a.m. to 3 really loud bangs on the driver's side window. A stranger's hand reached into the car. It pulled me out, put me on the ground, put me in handcuffs, and sat me in the back of a cop car. And the weight of every decision that I had made sat on my chest like a ton of bricks. And this thought kept running through my mind. It was the same thought that my business partner told me. It was the same thing that people that I had taken advantage of had told me. But I found that the loudest voices are oftentimes the ones that are in our own head. And it kept saying, "Nate, you'll never change. This is who you are now. This is your life." And they took me to Cheatham County Jail from there, where I spent
Is that
6
your
months.
own voice that kept going through your head, or everyone else is telling you this? Because it seemed like you skeeved out of, like, you skeeted from hitting rock bottom. Your partner didn't sue you. You didn't get caught. You almost lost everything. Like, it was like almost like just almost hitting rock bottom, but not so many times. And then kind of just figuring it out, like, just from your past, from being in survival mode all your life, learning how to survive and be resourceful. That, I mean, it's kind of a bittersweet thing. Like I'm saying, like, you've learned to be a survivor and resourceful just from being poor growing up, from watching your parents struggle, from watching them help, like people helping and things like that. And then, partying and doing drugs and that kind of stuff, learning how to be mischievous and not getting caught there, never getting arrested or busted for whatever you were doing in college. And then, turning it into gambling, chasing the dollar your whole life, basically, just because that's what you thought you needed to do. And then finally taking someone's car, and then if you didn't fall asleep, like where would you have been? Like to be caught right there. But things like maybe feeling like you never going to change could have been yourself telling you that because you never had to in your head. Like, oh, I'll just figure out something else. I'll just figure out something else. I'll figure this out. From being resourceful, if that makes sense, like what I'm picking up on.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's this rhetoric that goes inside of our own brain. It's this dialogue that we constantly have with ourselves. And that's why protecting that is so important, because Socrates says whether we think we can or whether we think we can't, we're right. And so I had heard someone tell me, Nate, you'll never change. And now I'm just repeating it to myself over and over and over and over again. And it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. I'm not changing because I don't have to, and I'm not changing because I'm constantly figuring it out, but I'm making a wrong decision after wrong decision after wrong decision. And, I don't think that anybody intentionally wants to ruin their life, but what happens is, man, you find yourself in a situation where you have two bad decisions in front of you. One feels less painful than the other. And so we move towards that. But here's the problem, that oftentimes that one that is less painful is not as good for us.
Right. Well, that's called a dilemma. Usually in movies, that's when they break out into a song. When we have two bad decisions before us, that's a dilemma. When we have a problem, there's usually just one bad decision. We have to come up with a solution. But so you can break out in a song right now if you want. I'll never change. No, but it seems like with also, and I hope I'm not going against your whole point here, but I don't think you need to change. I think you need to change your decision making, though.
Right, and I talk about that heavily in the book, that our decisions actually are what determine our destiny. And so, if you want a new life, man, the easiest way is to start making some new decisions.
Because it sounds like the past has made you very smart, resourceful, survival. That's what I'm saying. But to use it for good. I mean, you can organize crime or you can organize something really powerful. You know what I mean?
Come on. Yeah, absolutely. And it really just depends on what your outcome is that you want. What's the vision that you have for your life? In the beginning, mine was I wanted to become as successful as possible. I wanted to have a massive amount of money because I thought
you saw success as money. That's why
Correct.
You got hooked on gambling. That's why, then it probably from your upbringing, feeling like that money made you unhappy as a child. And money was the reason that you were struggling and things like that. But having a bunch of money isn't the answer either.
Unfortunately, it's not. And so now they take me to Cheatham County Jail, right? So this is where I spent 6 months of my life. It was a pod style facility. So I shared it with 16 guys. There were 8 bunk beds. There were 3 tables. There were 2 toilets. But there were 0 windows. And the only opportunity that we got to get out was once a month. They offered something called church service. Now, I wasn't interested in going to church, but man, I was interested in getting out of that pod. And so we walked down this long hallway. Off to the left-hand side, there was a cinder block room with 16 folding chairs set up. And we all filed in. And listen, we were some ugly dudes at this point. Our hair was grown out. Our beards were a mess. I'll tell you, orange is not a good-looking color on any man.
Ironically, I chose orange for the comments today. It was just coincidental.
Yeah, that's right. And so we file in, and then this really, really old guy walks in, and he pulls out this really, really old guitar. And as he's tuning it up, he looks at us and he says, fellas, the only difference between me and you is that I never got caught for the things that I had done. Mm-hmm. And then he starts to play this song, and it was Amazing Grace. And it goes, Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, but now I see. And, it was in that moment that I had my own moment of clarity. And I look around this room, and there's 16 guys who had hurt people, who had taken advantage of others, who had done some really terrible things, and they had tears streaming down their face. And it's hard to describe this moment. I wasn't worried about my past, the things that I had done, I wasn't worried about my future. When am I going to get out of here? But this overwhelming sense of peace sat on me. And then that weight started to lift off of me of all the things that I had done wrong. I just remember in that moment thinking to myself, if it is possible to change my life, I want to, because this is not the life that I want to live anymore. And so after 6 months, they
Great. After all you've been through, Amazing Grace, that song got to you.
Absolutely. And it was at the lowest moment of my life when grace showed up. And some people call it luck. Some people call it favor. I just choose to believe that God's grace is on my life. And so they gave me 2 years of felony probation and they kicked me out of jail. They sent me back to Ohio, and they gave me 2 years of probation because you're not allowed to steal cars and drive them across the country. I had to learn that one the hard way.
The probation, I was going to say, in the car, did you have any drugs or illegal stuff with you, or did you only get caught with Grand Theft Auto?
Yeah, so I also had marijuana and my prescription pills. And so, yeah, I was charged. I had some drug charges along with that as well. And
prescribed to you, or?
Yeah, both. So yeah, both. So my own prescription, one of my drug dealers wore a white lab coat, and he had a nice pad that he would write prescriptions out for me. And but so I had some that were prescribed to me, but then also I was buying people that I knew's prescriptions for uppers, for downers, for barbiturates, for anti-anxiety medicine, for ADD medication, for, like I said, I was always interested in figuring out what's the right cocktail to make me feel the right way. I hear
you say you had a friend in a white coat.
No, it was just my doctor.
Oh, I was gonna say, that's not a friend.
He's my first drug dealer.
He's not a very good doctor either.
And so they allowed me to transfer my probation back to Ohio, that's where I'm from. And when I got home, I really got obsessed with personal development and how do you create sustainable change. And I found this John Maxwell book that said, if you want your life to change, you've got to be the one that changes first. And that man, come on, that really spoke to me. And so now I had to take some personal responsibility for my life. And I went on this journey of thinking to myself, what could my life look like if I took 1 year and I committed to making the right decisions? Because up to this point, I had made a lot of the wrong decisions, and I knew what the result of that was going to be. But I had no idea what the result of making honest, solid, good, productive decisions in my life. And the truth is if it didn't work out, I could always go back.
Ding, jinx. Have you ever seen that episode of Seinfeld? It's old, but where George, he always made the wrong decision. So he's like, I'm just going to do the opposite of anything I'm going to feel. Like, whatever I'm thinking, I'm just going to do the opposite. And everything started working out for him that day. And he was just like, it's just funny. But
I haven't, but I really want to go watch that now. I'm definitely going to find that episode because that's kind of like my life. And so
they say, and I say this is a dumb joke all the time, but how many therapists does it take to change a light bulb? And the answer is 1, but the light bulb has to want to change.
Woo! Come on. Hey, we need to ding that bell because that's the truth.
I'll share my wealth with you all the time. No, but you have to want to change. That's the thing. That's the awakening. Like that, if you don't feel like it, if you have that negative mindset and you don't bet on yourself and you think, oh, I'm a failure, or I'm this, I can't, I won't, and not living in the mindset of I can bet on myself. And it's a beautiful feeling when we have that ability to still surprise ourselves.
Absolutely.
When we feel like, oh my gosh, like I can, not I can't, because that negative self-talk is what sets people back from fulfilling their full potential in life.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wanted to start to talk to myself a whole lot better because I found sometimes that we are hardest on ourselves. Like we will say some terrible things to ourselves.
We are always our own worst critic. Definitely. Let's pause on that because we need to go friend ourselves, right? That's what Dr. Amber Baker says. She's been on the show. Go friend yourself because we are our own worst critic. Callers, you are welcome to call in and join this conversation or ask Nate, his wonderful keynote speaker, any questions. 866-826-1340. It is time for our second break, and we will have to pause here. Please stay tuned. We'll be back with Moments of Clarity in just a moment after this.
We will return to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Warner after these messages.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Do you ask yourself any of these questions? Will I ever be able to get out of debt? Will I ever be able to retire? How am I going to pay for my children's education? How do I begin saving for my family's future? And if something were to happen to me, will my family be taken care of? Have you struggled in finding the answers? Forever Forward Financial can help answer these and many more questions about your financial future by teaching you how money works, by providing you the financial education you seek, by assisting you in making the right retirement or educational decisions that are best for you and your family, and by helping you take the necessary steps in establishing and meeting your financial goals. Please call us today and schedule your complimentary, no obligation meeting to discuss your needs and concerns. The number, 727-422-7761.
Are you having trouble staying sober after you've completed rehab and need a positive environment to help you continue sobriety? At Real Recovery Sober Living, we strive in both community and environment for men in early sobriety to help support you while in early recovery. For only $750 a month, we cover everything you need when it comes to a safe, clean, and accountable environment necessary for success in sobriety. Check out our website at realrecoveryfl.com. That's realrecoveryfl.com. We have 6 locations in Tampa, St. Petersburg, Clearwater, Brandon, North Tampa, and Bradenton, because everyone deserves a quality, sober living.
Hi, this is Tiffany Warner, your host of Moments of Clarity. Living with a mental health disorder is not easy. If you or someone you know are struggling with this, please know it's so important to seek treatment, and I'm here to help. Please visit the website at momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com to view blog posts and resources on this site to help educate and inspire you to take action, because there's no shame in seeking help for mental health. While you're there, please take a few seconds to sign up for my email list. You'll get some extremely valuable educational and entertaining content that can be sent right to your inbox each week. Plus, you'll also get instant and free access to my guide on managing your anxiety. You can also follow me on Twitter at MOC with Tiffany and at Facebook at Tiffany Warner. And once again, the website is momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com. Thank you so much for your support and for listening to your show, because change can only come when we stand together as one. Hi, this is Tiffany Warner, your host of Moments of Clarity. I'd like to give a shout out to musician-songwriter Don Lawson, who wrote, produced, and performed all the vocals and instruments on my Moments of Clarity theme song. Don gained his inspiration as a mental health counselor himself. He's always looking for artists to record his songs, and you can hear more of Don's music at reverbnation.com/Don Lawson. You can also check him out on Twitter at Don Lawson Music. Thank you so much, Don, for your contribution to Moments of Clarity and ending the stigma on mental health. It's awesome.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Now back to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Warner, licensed mental health counselor. To engage in the conversation, call 866-826-1340. Here's Tiffany.
Hello and welcome back. This is Moments of Clarity with Tiffany. I'm Tiffany Warner, licensed mental health counselor and your host. My guest is published author of You'll Never Change and Create Your Comeback and Prove Them Wrong. And You'll Never Change with a big X through it for those that can't virtually see. Welcome back, Nate Dukes.
Hey, thank you so much. So just to kind of wrap up where we've been so far. So my life fell apart and now I'm on this journey of really trying to change it. And so I wanted to become the best version of me emotionally and mentally. I wanted to become the best version of me spiritually. I wanted to become the best version of me financially, because I had really made a mess of my finances. What did it look like to become the best son, the best brother, the best friend that I could be? And I'll tell you, I thought it was only going to take me a year, but I mean, several years removed from that, I want you to know that I'm still on that journey, because transformation isn't something that has an endpoint. Transformation is this continual circle that we're always on.
Yeah,
and
it's easier for things to fall apart in just a second, and it takes a lifetime to build them back up sometimes, you know.
Absolutely. And so now, several years removed from that process, my life looks nothing like what it used to. So I got married to the love of my life last year. Her name's Jenna. She's amazing.
Yay, congrats.
We bought our first investment property together, and we're actually looking at acquiring our second one. And I've sat on the board of a nonprofit for underprivileged youth. I thank you so much. I lead hundreds of volunteers at my local church every week. And the thing that I'm very proud of, and it's kind of what we've been talking about, is this project that helps people who feel, I talked about this in the beginning, who feel like their life is too messy to change. And it's a book that I wrote called You'll Never Change, Create Your Comeback and Prove Them Wrong. It came out in June 6th. It went to #1 on Amazon, which was really amazing for me.
Good for you.
Thank you so much. And you know, I've been on this podcast tour where I've gotten to be on several podcasts. This is my first radio show, so I'm super honored.
Podcast only.
I know, this is so cool. This is a radio show. And you know, I'm just a chubby kid from Ohio, but I've been really humbled by this whole process, because I'm no longer chasing success anymore. I'm chasing fulfillment, and fulfillment it's not what I can get for me, but it's how can I help you? And
I was just gonna say that you're probably gaining a lot from helping others, where it's not just about fulfilling yourself anymore. Gambling, chasing the dollar, getting whatever you want, taking cars, doing drugs, all of that. It's what can you do to give back, and fulfilling, helping underprivileged children where you were once before in your life, you know.
Well, now I feel like I have a purpose that's attached to my pain, right? So
right. That's what I was saying, is that a lot of us, what we do is because we've been through something, and it gives us a calling. So we wake up to a calling rather than an alarm.
Whoo, come on, ding your bell for that. That was good.
I feel like I'm plagiarizing myself over and over again. Can't think something I always say. It's like over and over again. But I guess my point is that is probably the best gift that we can go through. And a lot of people say, oh, well, maybe that's why I've been through what I've been through.
Yes.
It's because I was supposed to learn from that and do something with it.
Yes. And so one of the things that I had to learn when I was really trying to change my life is that it comes down to the decisions that we make every single day. Contrary to popular belief, the things that you do, they matter. They matter so much. And so if you want a new life, you got to start making some new decisions. And the cool thing about making new choices is that you can just wake up today and just say, today I'm going to make a different choice. It doesn't have to be this moment where everything's falling apart. You can actually just decide, today I'm going to do something different. And that's hard, and it doesn't always make sense. And maybe you won't always see the result of those decisions for a really long time. You know, the hardest 4-letter word we're ever going to hear is wait. WAIT, wait. And maybe you've been making some new decisions and your life doesn't quite look like the way that you want it to. I'm just here to tell you that, you know, like a microwave burrito, it tastes okay, but there's something special about barbecue that's been smoking for 12 hours or something that's been sitting in the crock pot all day long that just, this thing, it takes some time.
Or toasting the burrito instead of microwaving it.
Yeah, it takes time, okay? And that's okay. And so give yourself some slack, give yourself a break, and just know that your time will come, and the results that you are after, they are just on the other side of waiting.
And to bet on yourself. Give yourself some credit and challenge yourself and believe in yourself and see what you can do, because it's amazing. Like I said, when you follow a dream like that, actually people think, oh my gosh, that would be so cool if I could do ... Well, try.
Well, and there's something beautiful about being at the bottom too, because you can build your life back brick by brick, exactly how you want it to look. And the problem is that some people get stuck in this life where it's like, I've got commitments and bills, and it's like, I don't know how things are ever going to look any different because I'm so overcommitted. And I totally get that. I completely understand. But there's something special about saying, you know what? I'm going to take the advantage of where I'm at right now, and I'm actually going to place a bet on me and see what I'm capable of doing and see what I'm capable of creating. And, when you start to surround yourself with the right people, when you get around those toxic relationships, and the people that I'm talking about, when you get around, you just start to become a different person, or you say things that you never thought you would say, and you're starting to believe things about yourself that just aren't true. It's when we start to talk about this stuff, people say, Nate, are you telling me to give up on people? Are you telling me to walk away from someone? And for some of us listening right now, this is actually the permission that you need to walk away from that toxic relationship or that toxic friendship that has been pulling you away from the plan and the purpose that's been placed on the inside of you. And when your hands are opened up to new experiences and new people, when we let go, really that's what we're doing. We're just letting go of some of the time that we've spent with these people, because our time is so valuable. It's really the only precious commodity that we have is our time. And now we're opened up to spending time with new people, with new visions and new experiences, and ultimately experiencing a new life.
It's kind of what I was saying in the beginning of the show, like how some of my friends from college kind of fell off the wrong path, and I lost touch with them, because I didn't follow that, and
And that's okay. That's okay. I actually had somebody who reached out to me literally this morning. It's a buddy of mine who went to college. He said, Nate, I've been seeing everything that you've been doing, and I need some help. Can you?
I've gotten a few of those calls too.
And it's great. It's special because it validates everything that you've been through, but it also is encouraging that keep moving forward because there's someone that needs you. There's so many people that are attached to our destiny. The things that we do, they're not just for us. So I don't know what the dream is that's inside of you that's been dormant for a long time, but it's time that you actually started to look inward and said, I'm gonna actually try to pull some of that greatness out of me, because there's other people who need to experience my story, who need to hear my hope, who need to be inspired by what I've been through.
And you just did that today. Just saying. Well done. This hour is almost up, and we just got the note from Ed that we got 5 minutes, which is really like 3 because it takes me a couple to wrap up the show. But what an inspirational speaker you are, and what an inspiring person you are. And congrats on your book making #1 on
Thank
Amazon.
you.
It's called You'll Never Change. It's by Nate Dukes, and it's on Amazon. I'm sure just find Amazon. You'll Never Change. Also, Nate's website is you'llneverchange.com. So you can find, I'm sure, most everything. Not I'm sure I've actually seen your website, but that most everything that you can find. And he's on all social media platforms, pretty much at Nate Dukes. So
Yep.
NateDukes, like Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah, Daisy Dukes.
I remember those shorts. Like I can go on. They don't exist anymore. Thank goodness. Anyways, Nate, it's been such an honor having you on the show.
Absolutely.
I'm glad that you've been following it, and I'm honored like that. And kudos on your first radio show.
Thank you, Tiffany. You're doing something special with this show, man. Keep it up. People need to hear these messages, and they need to hear these stories. So thank you so much for letting me be a part of it.
Oh, thanks. It takes a good guest to make it a good show. So I really appreciate your time and your story. And it's true. Change will only come when we stand together as one, but change will only come when you decide to make that effort to change.
So good. So
nobody's
good.
ever stuck. You're never stuck. There's always a solution. I'm a solution-focused therapist. There's always a way out of everything except for death, basically, and taxes. But a lot of people cheat that too. I don't know.
You could still find a way around those, I've heard.
I guess. But there's always hope, and there's always change. And to be kind to yourself and to a stranger, you never know what they're going through.
Yeah.
And you never know who you're going to meet. And tomorrow, every day changes. And everyone, have a wonderful weekend. Everyone, thank you, Ed. Thanks for all the listeners. Thanks for the team that's helping. And everyone, have a beautiful weekend. Please be kind to yourself. And we are on every Thursday, Friday, 12 to 1 live. And looking forward to next week. I have a wonderful week with some exceptional guest next week, and I can't wait for that too. But one day at a time, and thank you so much, Nate. And thanks, Ed, for running around with the show. Take care, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
Now it clicks. Don't put yourself down. Time for a change. Believe in yourself. Time to rearrange. Be your best friend. Bring hope to your day. Lose your critic. Get out of your way. Now it clicks. Moments of clarity. Now I hear moments of clarity. Now I get it, moments of clarity. To yourself be kind, it will please your mind. Find your joy, trust in you. Put in the time, you'll see how you grow. Many kinds of love you get to define. Find self-love, your soul will align. Now it clicks, moments of clarity. Now I hear moments of clarity.